Blood exploded across Ava's face as the bullet hit Jasu's shoulder. He collapsed into her arms, his white shirt turning crimson red. "Run," he choked out, trying to shield baby Kai with his body. But Miho's gun was already pointed at them again, his fingers squeezing the trigger for the second shot that would kill them all. If you missed part 1, check it out now. And if you're ready for the most dramatic continuation, hit subscribe and turn on notifications because this story is about to get insane. The second gunshot never came. Suddenly, men in black tactical gear crashed through every window and door of the mansion. Freeze! Korean National Police Special Unit. They swarmed Miho and his men, forcing them to the ground. The lead officer rushed to Jasu, pressing a cloth against his bleeding shoulder. "Sir, we got your emergency signal just in time." Ava stood frozen in shock, holding Kai, who was screaming from the noise and chaos. Her hands were covered in Jasu's blood. You called them?" she whispered as paramedics arrived. Jasu looked up at her with pain-filled eyes. "I've been working with them for months, gathering evidence against Miho's drug trafficking. The attack on my uncle. I knew it was coming. I tried to stop it." His words came out weak and broken. As they loaded Jasu onto a stretcher, he grabbed Ava's hand desperately, but before he could speak, his eyes rolled back and he passed out. Ava's world spun with confusion and fear. The police officer handed her a blanket and guided her to an ambulance. "Ma'am, you need to be checked for injuries too. Come with us to the hospital." All she could think about was the packed bag by the door. She'd been seconds away from running, from leaving him. And now he might die thinking she didn't trust him. 3 days later, Jasu finally woke up in the hospital. The first thing he saw was Ava sleeping in the chair beside his bed, dark circles under her eyes, Kai curled up in her arms. "Ava," he croaked, his throat dry. She jerked awake immediately, relief flooding her face. "You're awake. Oh, thank God you're awake." After the doctors checked him and adjusted his medications, silence filled the room. Finally, Jasu asked the question haunting him. "Why were you leaving that night? I saw your packed bag." His voice was gentle but full of hurt. Ava's eyes filled with tears of shame. I overheard something 3 days before the attack. I was walking past your office and heard someone who sounded like your assistant on the phone." She took a shaky breath. "He said the plan was working perfectly. That once 6 months passed and Kai was legally registered as your heir in Korea, you'd send me back to America and keep him here. That you only needed me until the papers were finalized." Her voice broke. "I thought you were using me, that everything was a lie to trap me and steal my son." Jasu's face went from confused to horrified to absolutely furious. "What? When exactly did you hear this?" When Ava told him the date and time, Jasu closed his eyes, his jaw clenching. "That wasn't my assistant. My real assistant was with me at a meeting in Busan that entire day. I can prove it. Miho must have paid someone to impersonate him, plant that fake conversation where you'd overhear it. He wanted you to run so he could kill us during the chaos and claim you kidnapped Kai." The truth crashed over Ava like a wave. She'd almost gotten them all killed because she believed Miho's trick. "I'm so sorry," she whispered, tears streaming down her face. "I should have asked you. I should have trusted you." Jasu pulled her close despite the pain from his shoulder wound. "I gave you reasons not to trust me at first. But Ava, I need you to know something important. I was never planning to send you away. I was planning something completely different, something I wanted to surprise you with." Jasu asked a nurse to bring his personal belongings. From his jacket pocket, he pulled out a legal document folder, worn from being carried everywhere. "I was going to give you this on our 6-month anniversary. That's what I was really planning." His hands shook as he opened it. "These are legal papers making you co-owner of everything I have. The businesses, properties, bank accounts, everything. Not a prenup protecting my assets, but actual equal ownership." Ava stared at the documents in shock. Her name was printed next to his on every page. "But why?" Jasu's voice was thick with emotion. "Because I wanted you to have power, not be powerless. In my world, I grew up learning that contracts and legal papers mean more than words. This was my way of proving that I see you as my equal partner, not my prisoner. If you ever wanted to leave, you'd leave as a wealthy woman who could provide anything for our son." He pulled out another folder. "And these are the papers I'd already started filing to give you full legal custody rights in Korea. The same rights I have. So no one, including me, could ever threaten to take Kai from you." Tears streamed down Ava's face as she realized how wrong she'd been. I almost left you. I almost took Kai and ran while you were bleeding out. What kind of person does that make me?" Jasu wiped her tears gently. "It makes you a mother protecting her child. A woman who was hurt before and didn't want to be trapped again. I understand, Ava. But please believe me now, I love you. Not because you gave me an heir, but because you showed me what real strength and love look like. You're the miracle I didn't deserve." They held each other, both crying, as Kai woke up and reached for them both, their little family finally understanding each other. 2 weeks later, Miho's trial began and became the biggest news story in Korea. Evidence that Jisoo had secretly gathered for 8 months filled the courtroom. Recordings of drug deals, financial records of bribery, proof that Miho had been slowly poisoning his own uncle to frame Jisoo for murder. The charges were overwhelming: drug trafficking, attempted murder, conspiracy to commit murder, and more. Ava had to testify about the night of the attack. Sitting in the witness box with cameras everywhere felt terrifying, but Jisoo's encouraging smile from the gallery gave her strength. "Mrs. Han, please describe what happened when Miho pointed his gun at your family," the prosecutor asked. Ava's voice shook but stayed strong. "He aimed at my baby first. Said he would kill Kai, then me, then Jisoo. My husband stepped in front of us and took the bullet meant for our son." The courtroom was silent as she described those horrible moments. When the judge asked if she feared for her life, Ava looked directly at Miho. "Yes. He wanted to destroy my entire family to steal power he didn't earn. He's a coward who hides behind violence." Miho's face twisted with rage, and guards had to hold him back as he lunged toward her, screaming threats in Korean. After 3 weeks of testimony, the judge declared Miho guilty on all charges and sentenced him to life in prison without possibility of parole. The courtroom erupted in chaos. But as guards dragged Miho away in chains, he managed to shout in English so Ava would understand. "This isn't over. My people are still out there. That child will never be truly safe." Security rushed Ava out as Jisoo pulled her close, his face pale with worry. Even behind bars, Miho had connections, money, and loyal followers. Their nightmare might not be over after all. "Marry me again," Jisoo said one quiet evening 2 months later as they watched Kai play with blocks on the living room floor. "Not for business or heirs or legal reasons this time. Marry me because you love me and I love you. Marry me the right way, with your whole heart choosing mine." He pulled out a different ring, simpler but more beautiful than the first, with intertwined emeralds and diamonds representing both their birthstones. Ava looked at this man who'd taken a bullet for their son, who'd spent months secretly building legal protections for her, who played peekaboo with Kai every morning despite still recovering from his injury. Her heart felt full to bursting. "Yes," she whispered, and he kissed her deeply for the first time since that magical night in New York that started everything. The kiss held all their pain, fear, hope, and love wrapped together. The wedding was small and intimate in the mansion garden. Just close friends, Jisoo's mother who'd flown in from Japan, and Ava's best friend from New York. Jisoo's mother hugged Ava so tightly, crying happy tears. "Thank you for saving my son in every way that matters. You gave him love, family, and purpose. You're the daughter I always prayed for." For the first time since her own mother died, Ava felt like she belonged to a real family again. As Jisoo carried her over the threshold that night, finally taking her to his bedroom as his true wife in every way, everything felt perfect and right. They made love tenderly, carefully, reconnecting after all the trauma and fear. Afterward, wrapped in his arms, Ava felt completely safe and happy. But at 2 a.m., Jisoo's phone buzzed with an urgent message. His face went white with terror as he read it. No, this can't be happening." Ava sat up, fear gripping her chest. "What is it? What's wrong?" Jisoo showed her the message, a photo of Kai's daycare with red crosshairs drawn over the building and words that made her blood freeze. "Miho sends his regards from prison. Your son dies tomorrow." Jisoo immediately called his security team and the police detective who'd handled Miho's case. "How is he sending threats from maximum security prison?" The detective's voice was grim over the phone. "He's been using smuggled phones. We're searching his cell now, but Ava and Kai need protection immediately. Miho still has loyal followers on the outside who'd do anything for money." By dawn, the mansion was surrounded by armed guards. Kai's daycare was shut down temporarily for renovations, while police investigated the threat. Ava couldn't eat or sleep, jumping at every sound, holding Kai constantly. What if they get to him? What if we can't protect him? Her voice was high with panic. Jisoo held them both, his own fear barely controlled. "I won't let anyone hurt our son. I promise." For 2 weeks, they lived in lockdown, no one in or out except approved security personnel. The isolation was suffocating. Kai cried constantly, not understanding why he couldn't go outside. Ava felt like a prisoner in the beautiful mansion, watching the garden through bulletproof windows. Then the detective called with news. "We found the people sending the threats, 3 of Miho's former gang members. They're in custody now. Relief washed over everyone. Maybe it was finally over. That night, Jisoo suggested they go out to dinner. Just the three of them with bodyguards, trying to reclaim normal life. At the restaurant, Ava started to relax for the first time in weeks. Kai was laughing, Jisoo was smiling, and she felt hope returning. Then her phone buzzed with a message from an unknown number. She opened it and her scream shattered the peaceful moment. The message was a photo of them in the restaurant, taken from across the street just seconds ago. The caption read, "Did you really think those three were the only ones? We're always watching. Run while you can. We can't live like this anymore," Ava said that night, her voice breaking as she packed Kai's clothes with shaking hands. "Our son is 16 months old and he's survived multiple death threats. This isn't a life. This is a nightmare. We need to leave Korea. Permanently." She looked at Jisoo with exhausted, desperate eyes. "I love you so much it hurts. But I love Kai more, and I can't watch him grow up afraid." Jisoo's face showed the war raging inside him. Duty to his family's legacy versus protecting the family he built with Ava. "My business, my mother, everything my grandfather and father built. They need me here." But even as he said it, his words sounded hollow. Jisoo's mother, who'd been listening from the doorway, stepped into the room. "No, son. Your wife and child need you more. I can manage the business. I did it for years when your father was sick. It's time for you to choose your own happiness over obligation." For 3 agonizing days, Jisoo struggled with the decision. He walked through the mansion remembering his childhood, his father's lessons, generations of family history in every room. But then he'd watch Kai flinch at loud noises, see the fear permanently etched in Ava's eyes, and the choice became crystal clear. "America," he said finally, pulling Ava into his arms. "We'll move to New York. I'll transfer the business to my mother and cousins. Without me here, Miho's remaining followers will have no target, no reason to keep fighting." Ava sobbed with relief and joy, finally able to breathe again. They could be a normal family in America, no mafia politics, no death threats, just them. They spent the next week planning their new life, looking at apartments in Brooklyn near where Ava used to live, researching American schools for Kai's future. Everything seemed perfect until Jisoo's phone rang at midnight with a call that would change everything once again. It was the Korean president's private secretary with an impossible offer that would force them to reconsider everything they'd just decided. "Mr. Han, the president would like to speak with you personally," the secretary said. Within an hour, Jisoo was on a video call with the president of South Korea himself. Ava stood beside him, shocked that this was really happening. "Mr. Han, your work helping our police dismantle Miho's criminal network saved countless lives. We've been monitoring your situation, and we want to make you an offer." The president's face was serious, but kind on the screen. "We're offering you complete immunity for any past criminal activities in exchange for becoming a special government consultant on organized crime. You'd work directly with our national police, using your knowledge to take down other criminal organizations. Completely legal, well-paid, and with the highest level of government protection for you and your family. Your son would be safer than the president's own children." Jisoo stared in disbelief. "You're offering me a legitimate government job? After everything I've done?" The president nodded. "You've proven you want to change. This is your chance to use your past to build a better future for Korea and for your family. Presidential-level security, legal status, respect instead of fear. Your son could grow up here knowing his heritage, completely safe. Think about it." After the call ended, Ava and Jisoo sat in stunned silence. "This changes everything," Jisoo said quietly. "We could stay in Korea, Kai could know his grandmother and his culture, and we'd have real protection. Not just bodyguards, but the entire government." But Ava felt torn. "Korea has been so hard for me. The language, the culture, feeling like an outsider, the constant judgment. America is my home. I miss it so much." They held each other that night, both understanding they faced an impossible choice. Korea with safety and Jisoo's family legacy, or America with Ava's comfort and belonging. Either way, one of them would have to sacrifice something important. "We have to decide together," Jisoo said. "Whatever we choose as a team." But neither of them knew that fate was about to make the decision for them in the most unexpected way possible. Ava had been feeling exhausted and nauseous for weeks, but she blamed it on the stress of death threats and deciding their future. One afternoon while playing with Kai in the garden, sudden dizziness overwhelmed her. The world tilted sideways and she collapsed, unconscious before she hit the ground. Jisoo found her minutes later, and his screams for help brought everyone running. At the hospital, doctors rushed her into emergency examination, while Jisoo paced the waiting room holding a confused, crying Kai. "Please let her be okay. Please let her be okay, he prayed to any god who would listen. After an hour that felt like years, a doctor emerged with a strange expression, concerned but also smiling. Mr. Han, your wife is fine. She fainted from dehydration and exhaustion. But we discovered something during our examination. Jisu's heart stopped. What? What's wrong? The doctor's smile widened. Congratulations. Your wife is pregnant. About 10 weeks along. That's likely contributing to her exhaustion and nausea. Both mother and baby appear healthy, but she needs rest and proper prenatal care. Jisu stood frozen, unable to process the words. Pregnant. Another baby. Another miracle when doctors had said he could never father even one child. When Ava woke up and the doctor told her the news, she burst into tears, joy and fear mixed together. How is this possible? She whispered, placing her hand over her still flat stomach. That night, lying in the hospital bed with Kai asleep between them and Jisu's hand resting gently on her belly, everything shifted. This changes our decision, Ava said softly. If we go to America, our new baby will never know your family, never understand Kai's heritage. But if we stay in Korea, will I ever truly feel at home? Will our children grow up with a mother who's always an outsider? Jisu kissed her forehead tenderly. We stay, he decided. I'll take the president's offer. I'll make Korea safe for our family, not through violence and crime, but through justice and law. And I'll spend every single day making sure you feel loved and at home here. Our children will know both cultures, yours and mine. We'll teach them English and Korean. We'll celebrate American and Korean holidays. We'll build a bridge between our worlds. Ava wanted desperately to believe him, to believe they could finally have peace. But peace seemed like an impossible dream, and then reality came crashing down in the worst possible way. The call came at 2 a.m, shattering their fragile hope. Miho has escaped from prison. He killed 2 guards during a transfer and disappeared. We have no leads on his location. The detective's words sent ice through Ava's veins. Before anyone could react, the mansion's power cut out, plunging everything into darkness. Backup generators kicked in, but alarms were screaming. Get to the safe room, Jisu shouted, grabbing Kai while pulling Ava toward the reinforced panic room he'd built in the mansion. But they didn't make it. Smoke grenades crashed through windows, filling the halls with choking gray clouds. Through the chaos, Ava heard Kai's terrified screaming and Jisu's shouts. Someone grabbed her from behind. A cloth pressed over her nose and mouth. Chemical smell. Dizziness. Jisu, she screamed, but her voice got weaker. The world went black. When Ava woke, her head pounding and vision blurry, she was tied to a chair in what looked like an abandoned warehouse. Panic exploded through her chest. Kai! Where's Kai? She screamed his name over and over, struggling against the ropes binding her wrists. Looking for this? Miho's voice came from the shadows, and he stepped into the dim light holding a crying Kai roughly by his small arm. Hello, sister-in-law. Miss me? Ava's mother instinct roared to life. Let him go. He's just a baby. Please, I'll do anything. Take me, hurt me, but let him go. Miho laughed, the sound echoing off the warehouse walls. Oh, your suffering is just beginning. Where's your heroic husband? He should be here soon. That's the plan, you see. Jisu will come to rescue his precious family, and when he does, I'll kill him right in front of you. Then I'll kill you. And then I'll raise Kai as my own heir, teaching him that his real parents were weak and died because of it. Perfect revenge. Miho paced like a predator, still gripping Kai, who was crying for his mama. You want to know how I escaped? Money and loyalty. I still have millions hidden overseas and men who'd die for me. Prison was just a temporary inconvenience. He checked his phone. Your husband's GPS shows he's 5 minutes away. Good. The fun is about to begin. Ava's mind raced desperately. She needed to keep Miho talking by time for what? She didn't even know if help was coming. Why do you hate us so much? What did I ever do to you? Miho's face twisted with rage. You exist. You gave him the one thing he wanted most, a son and heir, proof he wasn't broken. I spent years being told I'd inherit everything because Jisu was defective. Then you appeared and ruined everything. Suddenly, car engines roared outside. He's here, Miho said with sick satisfaction, setting Kai down in a corner, alive but unreachable behind a locked metal cage. Don't worry, I won't kill the child. I need him alive to raise as my weapon against everything Jisu built. But you and your husband? You both die tonight. He pulled out a knife, the blade gleaming in the dim light. The warehouse door burst open and Jisu ran in unarmed, hands raised. I'm here. Let them go, Miho. This is between us. Behind him, Ava could see shadows moving. Police, maybe? Or Miho's men. She couldn't tell. Miho smiled and advanced on Jisoo with the knife. Say goodbye to your wife. Time seemed to slow down as Miho lunged forward, the blade aimed at Jisoo's chest. But Jisoo was faster than expected. His months of physical therapy had rebuilt his strength. He dodged left, grabbed Miho's wrist, and they crashed to the ground in a brutal fight for survival. Ava screamed as the men fought viciously on the concrete floor, blood and violence everywhere. She struggled desperately against the ropes, managing to loosen one hand. In the corner, Kai wailed in his cage, traumatized but alive. Suddenly, gunshots exploded outside. Police had arrived, taking down Miho's men. It's over, Miho, Jisoo shouted, pinning his cousin down. You're going back to prison forever. But Miho laughed even as police poured into the warehouse. Am I? Look at your precious wife. Everyone's eyes turned to Ava, and horror flooded the room. Blood was spreading across her shirt, pooling on the chair beneath her. No! Jisoo's scream was inhuman as he abandoned Miho and ran to her. Ava! No, no, no! He frantically untied her, his hands shaking violently. The baby! Ava gasped, looking down at the blood in shock and terror. Something's wrong with the baby. I can feel it. The stab wound in her side from the fight. She hadn't even felt it happen in the chaos, the adrenaline blocking the pain. Now it burned like fire, and the wetness spreading down her legs told her something was horribly wrong with her pregnancy. Hold on, baby, hold on, Jisoo begged, pressing his jacket against her wound as paramedics rushed in. In the ambulance racing to the hospital, Ava gripped Jisoo's hand with fading strength. If you have to choose, save the baby. Promise me. Save our daughter. Jisoo was crying openly now, something she'd never seen. I'm not choosing. You're both going to be fine. Stay with me, Ava. Stay with me. But her eyes were closing, her grip getting weaker. The paramedic's face showed worry as monitors beeped frantically. We're losing her. Drive faster. At the hospital, doctors rushed Ava into emergency surgery while Jisoo collapsed in the waiting room, covered in her blood, holding Kai, who was still crying. Hours passed like torture. Finally, a surgeon emerged, still in bloody scrubs, her face exhausted and impossible to read. Mr. Han. Jisoo stood on shaking legs, Kai clutched to his chest. Your wife lost a lot of blood. The knife wound was deep and complicated by her pregnancy. We had to make some very difficult decisions in there. She paused, and that pause felt like death itself. I need you to sit down for what I'm about to tell you. Did Ava survive the surgery? What happened to the baby? And what difficult decisions did the doctors have to make that will change their family forever? What would you do in Jisoo's position? How do you cope when everything you love hangs in the balance? Do you think Ava and the baby will both make it? Drop your predictions in the comments. Smash that like button if this story has your heart racing. Share with everyone who needs this drama in their life, and subscribe for part 3 where we'll discover if this family survives or if Miho's revenge finally succeeds. Turn on notifications. The next part will destroy you.